In this episode, for arm training, machines, bands, kettlebells. Oh no!
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome everyone to episode 541 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Everest and K2 flexing on you, oh. And I'm cracking and creaking, and it's Sunday, fun day, so the nipples are hard like fucking diamonds, and I hope yours are too, and if not, you're doing something wrong. Turn on Facebook or YouTube and watch Papa Swole pinch his nips and drink tons of caffeine as we kick off episode 541. Thank you for joining me. And let's start off with the question of the day. And this one's on Facebook from Andy Ray. And he asks, lactic acid buildup. Is there a way to offset this or lessen its impact on people who are maybe not as far along in their health goals? Soreness feeling, which I'm sure you're referring to. That's what you're asking. You're asking about the soreness. You're asking about the burning. You're asking about the stiffness. Let's get you into mobility. And I'm very huge on mobility. If you've been following me for any of these 541 episodes of the Daily Sleazy, you know I'm huge on yoga. I'm huge on mobility. And that is what active recovery is all about. So if you want to lessen your soreness, your stiffness, and your intramuscular pain and discomfort, then you need to help the muscles recover. Let's get this community off assuming that muscles are going to heal themselves. They're just going to get better. They're just going to sit there and just improve. We need to help them improve. We have to help break them down so they adapt, and then we need to build them back up. So don't just allow your rest days to be passive. Let's get into those rest days. Let's get active, and let's really become a part of the recovery process. I want you all to think about your training and think about recovery being as important, if not more important, than your strength training. And for a lot of people, that's going to be a complete mind fuck. But if you can change that and you can change how you think about your training and focus on recovery more, you'll be injured less, you'll recover faster, you'll get stronger, you'll get more results, you have a better looking physique, aesthetics will improve. Trust me, it's the gold. So thank you so much, Andy, for your question. Mobility, flexibility, yoga, do it. Let's get on with the show, episode 541. Let's go balls deep today. We're going to crush machines and bands and kettlebells and chains and I don't know what the fuck else they have in gyms now, but all these different things besides barbells and dumbbells, which we haven't really addressed too much. We talked about angles, we talked about basics, we've talked about nutrition, we've talked about all these different aspects of getting the arms super huge. So as the last capping episode of this Arms Yoked series, where do all these different training strategies come into play? Where do all these different pieces of equipment, because your gym, you pay a membership. You know there's millions of dollars of equipment around you at these big gyms. What good is it? Well, think of all those things as the sales pitch. All those different pieces of equipment is a gym sales pitch. Look at all these things we have. We're going to attract so many people. We're going to attract so many different interest levels. We're going to attract people that like kettlebells, that like bands, that like cables, that like all these different things. We have all these pieces of equipment, and it seems psychologically, because a machine, because in every other aspect of our life, with work and with cars and stuff and technology and phones and how you're watching the show right now, machines help us with our lives. Machines help us do things easier in our life. But when we go to a gym and the membership salesman shows us around and shows, oh, look at these machines over there. Look at this. Isn't this cool? Oh, look at this. We got 4 of these. We got 5 of those. Somewhere in our subconscious, we think that because these are machines, that's going to help us. Keyword help. Help us get bigger. Help us get the results that we want. Because they're machines, right? They're machines. They're going to help us do things more efficiently, more effectively. The problem with these machines and these cables not kettlebells, but like I'm talking about the, all the fancy machines, like the things that are on tracks and, pulleys and shit like that. They are there and will only work for you if you know how to work them. If you're a beginner, it's going to sound counterintuitive. A lot of people say, oh, beginners start on these machines, do this. Big fucking mistake. If you're a beginner, you got to start you got to start with the real shit. You got to start with the free weights. If you're a beginner, you are prime. You are unmolded clay. You need to start with the free weights. Start with doing proper form. Don't start heavy. Make sure you have someone that knows what they're doing. You have good reference videos like the ones that I provide my programs and stuff. Make sure you have the knowledge and the know-how and the support to help lead you on this journey. If you can start with the free weights first, then you start adding in machines and these other fucking things as, icing on the cake, as a spice to the meal. But don't start with them. Start with the free weights. You don't need all those extra things. Kettlebells are fine. I'm not grouping kettlebells with bullshit things. Kettlebells are great. It's just a specific style of a free weight. So kettlebells are fine. I'm not going to go into like actual kettlebell training right now, but I'm talking mostly not even so much about bands or cables, but all the other fancy machines. Just like the idea of machines. Like you go into and you see this is a curl machine or this is a tricep machine and it only does one thing. It does this, and it's for tricep extensions, or it does this and it's like a preacher curl machine. I'm talking about those things. You don't need them. Can they be beneficial? Sure. Do I use them on occasion? Sure. But it's just not, it shouldn't be in your realm. It shouldn't be in your scope. It shouldn't be anywhere near your program if you're a beginner. You got to start with as much free weight as possible, as much body control. That's why I push yoga so much. That's why I'm such a huge proponent of mobility. That's why I am such a huge proponent of free weights. You need to teach your body the most coordination, and you need to teach your body the absolute foundation. There's really no other way to explain it. The absolute foundation of fitness training. And whether it's arms, triceps, shoulders, back, chest, whatever it is, legs, it's free weights. It's free weights, allowing your body to travel through the range of motion the way it's supposed to, stabilizing and controlling as much of that space and situation as possible to activate the most muscles, to stimulate the most, the biggest or the greatest neural response and the greatest physiological response, to stimulate the most growth or endurance or whatever your rep scheme, whatever your program is. But when it's free, especially at the beginning, it's like learning how to ride a bike. You need to learn how to ride a bike, or you should know how to ride a bike before you learn how to ride a motorcycle. That just makes sense. Most people know how to ride a bike when they're little anyway. But you got to start there. Start with a bike and then start with a scooter and then go to a motor. It's like you build yourself up. Start with the free weights and then you can go to these other things that might restrict you, but don't restrict from the beginning. You need to flourish. Free weights all fucking day. And then when you're more advanced, you'll know what machines you should be using. You'll know your body. You'll understand when you're uncomfortable. You'll understand, you'll know your limitations, what joint positions bother you, which angles you feel the best with, where you're the weakest, where you need to improve the most, where you're strongest and where you can sacrifice. It just takes time and experience. And if you rush into machines, you're rushing to these assisted situations, you are setting yourself back. You got to start raw, you got to start free, and you have to just work hard and be dedicated to your craft. Thank you so much for joining me this Sunday. It's the weekend. It's fucking Sunday. You have a chance. You probably aren't working today. You're probably taking today off. Go train. Go crush your body. Go crush fucking arms, and then let me know how you did. Remember, if you want your question featured right here on the Daily Swole, use the hashtag AskPapaSwolio in the comments wherever you're watching or listening to this. Hashtag AskPapaSwolio with your question to be featured right here on the Daily Swole. Happy Sunday. Happy episode 541. I'll see you tomorrow on Monday for episode 542. Everest and K2 flexing on you. Oh, oh, oh. Thank you so much for joining me for the most muscular podcast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Peace, McGee's, deuce, Magoose, Papa Swolio, out.